Britain has a long history of offering refuge to victims of persecution, but supposing it was instead offering sanctuary to an organisation which was using Britain as a base from which to threaten and persecute others. That's the accusation against the leader of an organisation called the MQM, a man called Altaf Hussain. The MQM is one of the most feared political organisations in Pakistan. Mr. Hussain is accused of no fewer than 30 murders there, which he denies, and he now lives happily in North London, from whence he controls the brain and the brawn of his organisation, which dominates Pakistan's biggest city, Karachi. Owen Bennett-Jones reports.
Thursday, September the 16th, 2010, and CCTV catches senior MQM member Imran Farooq at Edgware Tube Station. He's walking towards the 204 bus stop and his murderers. After that, the CCTV coverage stopped. But the police believe he walked for another 10 minutes and then was stabbed to death outside his home. The police found a knife and a brick used to kill him, but there was very little else to go on. The first major breakthrough came over a year later.
The Pakistan authorities arrested two men, I believe in Karachi, during the year, and that was on the grounds of this murder. We are liaising with the Pakistan authorities to see how we pursue this investigation. It is very much a live investigation.
So far, the Pakistanis haven't handed anyone over, but the police here have launched a massive investigation into the murder of Imran Farooq, and they just arrested someone a couple of weeks ago at Heathrow. He's been bailed until September. They also raided this house, and it belongs to Altaf Hussain, the leader of the MQM. Around here, I wouldn't be surprised if many people didn't even know who he was. But back in Pakistan, he's one of the most famous politicians in the country. He's developed the practice of addressing thousands of his supporters in Karachi over the phone. They gather and listen to his voice. And after the raid on his home, he lashed out at the UK authorities. Altaf Hussain has been a UK resident for over 2 decades. He's got a British passport. These are his party headquarters in Edgware. It may be a long way from Pakistan, but from here he exerts total control over his party. He denies any involvement in the murder of Imran Farooq. And to make the point, he very publicly mourned his former colleague's death. In their raids, the police found hundreds of thousands of pounds of unaccounted for cash, and that's led to a money laundering investigation. And the Metropolitan Police are also formally investigating Altaf Hussain for something else, whether he's using his London base to incite violence in Pakistan. By any standards, Altaf Hussain uses rough language. The police are now assessing whether those speeches and others like them breach the law. So what does the British law say? We asked a London-based Urdu-speaking barrister to look at some of the clips and to make an assessment.
Well, for those to be potentially terrorism offences, one would have to have the use or threat of force, which seems to be there on some of the clips, made for a political cause, and the MQM is a political body, designed to influence the government, and all three seem to be made out. When one looks at the body of material that Newsnight has gathered, it does look as though there's a case to answer, because there is, it appears, an intention that the listener, or the person against whom a threat is being made, should take it seriously.
Highlighted here, the most senior MQM leader in Pakistan. He's listening to Altaf Hussain speaking about tearing open abdomens, and yet he insists his leader doesn't use violent language.
I categorically would deny and refute that Mr. Hussain would have ever had said what you are saying to anybody. This is just simply impossible.
Well, let's take the Supreme Court. They interpreted something he said as a threat, and they demanded an apology, and that's the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
If something that may have come as a result of a kind of some emotional outburst or gesture that may have come, so then we are open to criticism also, we are open to correction also, and that is what Mr. Altaf Hussain has always retracted from such statements which may have caused and may have hurt the sentiments of the people of Pakistan or the institutions of Pakistan.
We tried to contact former MQM members for this program. Only one agreed to talk. Naeem Ahmed says he used to work for the party in Karachi and that its members there have killed people.
You know, I cannot count, but hundreds people.
Hundreds?
Yes, hundreds people were killed.
The MQM insists that it is a peaceful party, that it doesn't use violence.
No, they are not a peaceful party. They are militants group, and they are like a bunch of mafias.
Did you ever commit any acts of violence?
No, it wasn't my job. If I liked the violence, why I leave the party? It's an ideal party for violence. Yes. I left the party because of violence, because of militancy.
So what did you think of those young men in your district who were, you say, killing people in the name of the MQM?
I always try to convince them. It's not nice way. What you are doing, who is going to give you the order? They directly say we got an order from the London.
Life in Karachi is dangerous. After the recent elections, a well-known political and social campaigner in the city was shot dead outside her home. Over the years, I've heard stories of how the police simply kill suspected MQM militants on the streets, meaning the MQM wants revenge. This Pakistani policeman got asylum in Europe because of threats from the Taliban, but also from the MQM. We've changed his name and voice and obscured his image.
I think 80% of MQM terrorists arrested by the police are involved in the murder and other terrorist activities.
And when you made these arrests, how did the MQM respond? What did they say to you?
MQM tried to give a statement against me. Also, they threatened to kill me, and they killed my other colleagues.
How many of your colleagues did they kill?
I think 20.
You say the MQM have killed all these police officers, and yet, you know, there are very few convictions in Pakistan. Why are these people never convicted?
Nobody wants to give evidence against MQM.
Why don't people want to give evidence?
If they try to give evidence against MQM, so MQM will kill them and their families.
Depending how you look at it, Altaf Hussain is charismatic or eccentric. On TV, he bolsters his image as a modern liberal man. But his reputation in Karachi is so fierce, many people there try to avoid even saying his name in public. So why is he able to operate from London? It's not as if Pakistan hasn't complained. For 20 years, Pakistani leaders have asked London to control Altaf Hussain. The police are investigating, but what about the government? This is Britain's Deputy High Commissioner to Pakistan paying Altaf Hussain a visit in North London. And the MQM says that whenever it needs British visas, the Home Office issues them almost without exception. So why does Britain keep its doors open to the MQM in this way? One member of the House of Lords who's been openly critical of the MQM told us that he won't go to Karachi because he fears if he did so he could be killed. Another member of the Lords says she doesn't ask questions about the MQM because, as she put it, she's got a child to worry about. It all prompts a question: why do British officials, so keen to talk about promoting democracy in Pakistan, deal with a party that privately, they say, uses violence to achieve its objectives?
This letter may help answer that. Written by Altaf Hussain, it arrived in number 10 within weeks of 9/11. In it, Altaf Hussain offers Tony Blair human intelligence on jihadis. For years, the MQM and the Foreign Office refused to acknowledge this letter as genuine. But through a Freedom of Information request, Newsnight has established that the letter is authentic and did reach number 10, who passed it on to the Foreign Office.
It's a curious thing. On the one hand, here you have this party which has a very complicated and controversial reputation in Pakistan, being run by remote control at a distance of 4,000 miles by its leader from this very city. On the other hand, it offers Britain some degree of influence in Pakistan.
And also protection against the jihadis.
Yes, the MQM has played very heavily over the years on the idea that it presents a bulwark against Islamist extremism in Pakistan's most populated city.
There's no doubt Altaf Hussain is under ever greater pressure. And for many in Pakistan, the pressing question is this: will Britain put him on trial?